This perp back with another video, and I just got done checking out Genius, a Kanye Trilogy Part 2. If you haven't checked out my first part review, definitely go check that out in the comments below. And check out my other reviews on different movies and album reviews and whatnot. I'll put all that in the comments below. So, yeah, man, Kanye has been everywhere, like in the news and whatnot, from the Donda 2 stuff to, the Donda experience, which you can check out my thoughts of that in the comments below. If you haven't checked out that, I dropped that out like a few hours ago. Yeah, so definitely check that out. So this continues the trilogy by going into Kanye's pretty much Rockefeller phase and him working on his very first album. I was expecting them to kind of go in a different direction, and I'll get into that very shortly. So this was an interesting part. I think this was my favorite part. I feel like this was even better than the first part because the first part it pretty much showed you Kanye before the fame, before he got signed and everything. This is him getting his first album ready to go and ready to ship, but he's getting constant issues and problems with Rockefeller because it seemed like they didn't want him to release his music. And there's a theme with this whole entire documentary and just with Kanye in general, how everybody kind of doubted him. They didn't really take him serious as a rapper, and he wants people to take him serious as a rapper, not just a producer. Which I find so fascinating. Just watching a lot of this, I like how this documentary starts off. This part where we get this unseen clip of Kanye back in 1990. So he was a young bull, like young, and he was spitting crazy up until the part where you see the fallout of him and Cootie, which was I like the pacing of each of these documentaries because they're like an hour and so many minutes. I think the first part was a little bit longer. This one was a little bit shorter, but it felt really well paced out from just the different tracks he was working on, like Through the Wire. That was a big focus in this second part, and getting to like the video shoot, that was really cool. I like seeing the behind the scenes of like the original version of Bounce with Jay-Z and Kanye, because that definitely has changed. It's interesting to see how Kanye has changed over the years and just how he just kept going even when he had the crash, which they really touch up on. He got really inspired. It pushed him even more. And because usually in that type of situation, an artist or a creator can kind of lose some confidence or, that drive to create. But he just used it as inspiration and just kept going with it. I really like that they really displayed that, and just where it's going to go with part three, where we kind of go see where Kanye is past, the college dropout years, the late registration and graduation, where things really start to change. And he really blew up. And I really like how we get to the point where when he gets to his Grammy speech, that I think that's where his career really peaked, and when he dropped Through the Wire. Because Through the Wire is definitely my favorite song of Kanye's, amongst other productions and different songs that he's been a part of. But that one really stands out, and just the little things that he's done to like get this first album out, and it was supposed to come out sooner, but the label just kept delaying and delaying it, and they weren't really taking it serious until like it was released, and it just blew up and just went crazy. And I like how before the album released, how people would react to Kanye, because he would just be in restaurants, like random restaurants, and it's just surreal to look at that Kanye was, for all better purposes, like a nobody at one point, and now he can't do the same things that he was doing like 20 something years ago. He's completely in a different type of level right now in his life. And just seeing the the behind the scenes, like the process of just the little things he would help orchestrate and just putting things together. And the fallout with him and Cootie was interesting because, Kanye wanted to go in a different direction as far as his visuals. Like, there was always these different ideas for Jesus Walks, but he wanted like Hype Williams to make the video. He wanted really high budgets and stuff like that. So you could definitely see at that moment that's where he really changed. Like, and that's crazy how fame can change a person. But in Kanye's case, I feel like it was a little different. And I'm curious to see this last part because we're definitely going to see where things started to shift with Kanye and how the media perceived him at that time and where he's at now. Overall, really good second part. I still think it's my personal favorite, just seeing the behind the scenes of how he just was making all these different tracks, making this classic, and, not giving up on pretty much his dream and what he wanted to accomplish. You got to respect him on that, because I look at myself and I think a lot of people as just content creators, because the landscape of things have just changed. It's not no longer just, you know, you want to be a musician or you want to be a director of a movie. You could do all that on just YouTube and stuff, and people are kind of doing it in their own way. So I think there's a lot you could take away from this documentary and just the series overall, and kind of just learn from it. I think there's some things that people as creators can learn from this. But if you've seen the both of these parts, let me know which one's your favorite part, the first part or the second part. Are you looking forward to seeing how they're going to cap this off? But until next week, we get the final part. I will see y'all until then. Peace.